We're going to get into bridling your mule and how the appropriate way that I do it, or try to do as much quality as possible without crinkling the ears and creating problems on the bridling end. So first things first, I'm going to talk a little bit about the bridle, things to look for. So for me, in the snaffle bit, I'm using the brow band here, and the brow band on my mules is a little bit different than a horse would be. It's about an inch to inch and a half longer brow band on it. What I don't want it to do is crinkling or wearing against the back of the ear. When this is too short, what will happen, this part right here will go back against the ear and we'll get them kind of sore. So that's a tip number one. Make sure you get your brow bands big enough for your mule. And most mules have a little bit bigger forehead, and with a bigger ear on it, you'll have to go a little bigger. If you're going to a one ear, those are also, for our bridles, we get a little bit bigger. Just simply because I don't want it to rub on the ear and create problems. That's the next thing. That's on the bridling end of it. And the next thing I kind of want to check out is on a new mule, what I try to do is checking out is how they are with running my hand down his nose. And he's been here for about 2 weeks now, I believe. He's Montana. He's between 15 and 20 years old, somewhere there. So I'll run my hand down his nose, and I should be able to stick my thumb in his mouth without a big fuss. I should be able to run my hands up close to his ear or over his ear. Pretty decent. I should be able to move it forward, back. On that end of it, that's kind of a tip on a little bit on that end of it. So I'll go ahead and get to putting the bridle on here. For me, I like to put the lead rope, end of my lead rope, over the horn back here. One thing I do want to come up here, bud. There we go. Back up just a bit. For me, when I'm going to doing the halter, you can watch the haltering video, see how I go about that. But when I'm taking the halter off, I should be able to get their nose tipped toward me just a little bit, and maybe a little bit down toward the ground, because I don't want to be bridling too high. There we go. I'll release that halter, and I'll put that over the horn. Now, obviously, if you have one that's really bad to bridle, you might want to keep the halter on him until he's really good to bridle him, unbridle him, go back and forth. But he's pretty good. He's in the barn here. He's not going to go too far. Last thing you want is the halter hanging on here and getting down, and when he does, if he would run off and get tangled in his feet. So another thing on the bridle, we always go 2 notches longer to bridle and to unbridle. So I'm not quite sure where it's going to be on him, but we always go longer on the bridling end, at least 2 notches. So I use a Makati rein on my snaffle bit, so the lead rope part of the Makati rein will go over my shoulder or over my elbow. So the next thing I'll do is I want to go and spread the top of my bridle between my fingers. Come over here, I'll take my right hand kind of underneath his jaw. I'll bring this bridle, come kind of over here and scoop up the nose. I'll grab a hold of the bridle with my right hand and scoop up his nose. My right hand then will come up to the top of his head between the ears and in front. I try to keep it out of his eye as much as I can. I continue to spread it a little bit with my top hand. My right hand is going to pull the bit up into his mouth. My left hand is going to place the bit in his mouth. I'm not shoving the bit in his mouth with my left hand. My right hand, as the mouth opens and the bit goes into his mouth, my right hand will lift. So when I'm coming down here to putting the bridle on, I'm also spreading the bit between my index finger and my middle finger, and I'm using my thumb on the other end. So come in here, come up to the mouth, and then I'm going to take on the right side of the mule, my middle finger, I'm going to open up the mouth. I'm going to go slowly into his mouth with the bit. I do not want to be clanging against his mouth, the bit against his mouth. The metal on teeth do not feel too good if you. It's like someone banging a spoon in your mouth, and it wouldn't be too good if it bangs against the teeth. So here, I'm going to switch hands again with my right and my left hand. Spread the bridle. I'm going to come over here and do the farthest ear away from me first. Be the right ear. You can come forward and underneath. Then come over here to the left ear and go forward and underneath. And if you're using the same bridle and the same mule, you can go instantly. You know it's 2 notches longer or than it should be when it's on him, so you'll tighten it up 2 notches instantly. That'll get that carrying up in his mouth. So I think that looks pretty good for him. I'm going to go and buckle this and do the throat latch. When I'm doing the throat latch, it's a little loose right now with his head down. Let's bring his head up just a little bit. That's about where I would want it. I don't want it too tight, don't want it too loose, so it can't slip over off of his ear if he does rub. That's just barely tight enough. I might go one more. Another thing, when I'm going to tighten up how tight to make the bit in his mouth, I do not want to see any crinkles in his mouth. When he's done chewing here, you can see, and it'll look like it'll have crinkles in, but it's the slobber straps are hanging down and putting pressure on the bit. But as soon as I'm riding, I'm picking up on these slobber straps, and that's about how I would want it. I don't want much of a crinkle. I want my mules to carry that bit in his mouth. Now, if you have one that wants to put the tongue over the bit, you might tighten it up a notch or two and make him smile just for a day or two until they kind of learn how to carry that bit and keep his tongue in the right place. So that's on the bridling end of it. And then when I go to unbridle, I reverse it. I take my lead rope of my bridle, of my Makati rein, put it over his neck, and I'll take everything off at one time. Here, bud. There we go. I'll first undo the throat latch, and then I'll undo the bridle and go 2 notches longer. Here it'll give you a lot more room to get the bridle off over the ears without crinkling them. So my first goal is I'll take it off completely reverse. I'll do it the left ear first and then the right ear. When I'm taking the bridle off, I'm taking the left hand, my knuckles toward the ear. My goal is to go out in this direction with the bridle, to unbridle them. And I'll have the rope and the reins there all in one slide. It's sitting right on top of the bridle. So it shouldn't get in the way. It shouldn't cause a problem. So I'll take this end of it, come out as far as it can, and take it over the right ear also, come out as far as it can, and like that. Now, when you're taking the bridle off, a lot of mules will kind of want to spit that bridle right away out of his mouth, which is okay as long as they're doing it in the right way. He's getting a little impatient for me. So he's ready to spit that. See his tongue moving in there? It's moving in a forward and back in forward and back motion. He's ready to pick up that bridle and spit it out so he doesn't hit his teeth. It's kind of crazy how they figure that out eventually. They'll put the tongue between the teeth and the bit. It's kind of pretty cool. So that's all I have on the bridling end of it. I hope that helps you a little bit. And this is something you can practice. You can take the bridle on and off, for 5 times in a row, 10 times in a row until they bridle really well. If we have a mule that has a big problem on the bridling end of it, we'll bridle and unbridle as many times as it takes to get him to do it really nice. Something that you can that will help you if you have a mule that has a problem putting his head up or sticking his nose out or really clamps the mouth closed when you're trying to put the bit in his mouth, is something I do with all my colts before I put a bit in their mouth, is I'll use the rope, because if they flinch or do anything wrong, the rope won't hit their teeth. And how I go about that, I will kind of mimic the bridle as much as I can. So I come up here, he lifts his head a little bit, I might bring him down just a little bit here. See if he can lower his head. Give me a few seconds. There we go. Came down just a little bit. There it is. So first thing I'll do is I'll kind of come over here and put it over right ear, and put lead rope over the left ear. Now it's not the same as putting it through here, but it will definitely help. Next thing I'll do, this part right here will be the bit. And I'm going to lift with my right hand again. I'm going to lift the rope in his mouth. So I'm coming down here in here, open up and lift that in, and I'll let him spit it out. I might do that 10 times in a row until he does that really, really nice. He's not flinging his head around. He's keeping his head pretty level and down. So I'm kind of happy with that. But that's something that you can use and mimic as a bridle and make it a whole lot easier for you. That is all I have for you. And if you like the videos, like and comment and subscribe to our channel. And we appreciate you watching our videos. Thanks for watching.